Something awful just happened to Kail Lowry's oldest son, Isaac. He recently went through a terrifying experience, and the crazy details surrounding it are absolutely heartbreaking. On one of Kail's latest podcast episodes, she shared a surprising story about her 13-year-old son, Isaac. He was recently involved in an aggressive incident at his school, which is seriously unexpected news. He's always been one of the most thoughtful and well-behaved kids from the Teen Mom franchise, but the disturbing truth about what really happened to Isaac is going to leave you completely shocked. During a new episode of Barely Famous, Kail described an astonishing update about her teenage son. She explained to her co-host Kristen Coria that Isaac had actually just gotten into a fight at school, but how she found out about the incident was honestly insane. Kail revealed that she received a puzzling text message from one of her family friends. He asked if Isaac was okay after the fight he had just been in at school. What happened next was incredibly nerve-wracking. Kail was floored because she hadn't heard anything about her son being involved in a fight. She called the school immediately, but they claimed that they hadn't heard anything either. And that was when the situation took an outrageous turn. Kail admitted that right after she got off the phone with the school, they called her back. After the assistant principal confirmed that Isaac had just been in a physical altercation, Kail totally lost her mind. Kail said that she was so mad because she had assumed that Isaac was the one who started the fight. She had even texted his dad, Joe Rivera, about how they might need to look into military schools for their son, but the reality of the situation was extremely alarming. According to what the assistant principal saw on the school cameras, Isaac was jumped from behind by another student. There was no way he could have even known the fight was about to happen because it was completely out of the blue. The fact that Isaac was attacked at school with zero warning is so wild. Kail and Kristen both said that he's not a fighter at all, which a lot of people have figured for years. He's always been so sweet, polite, and helpful, which makes what happened seem even more bizarre. Kail confessed that Isaac was okay for the most part, thanks to the other kids who pulled the bully off of him. She added that he did have a couple of scrapes and scratches on him, but it turns out that wasn't the only concern. This sounds seriously overwhelming. Kail explained that she was so glad Isaac already had a therapy appointment that evening because processing the attack was difficult for him. I definitely don't blame him, especially since he always seems to go out of his way to be kind to other kids. Even though it was tough for Isaac to mentally deal with what happened to him, Kail said that his therapy session helped him a lot. Apparently, the school also gave him an excused absence for the next day, but that brought about another extraordinary problem. Isaac had been attacked the second to last day of school because he wasn't at school for the last day. He didn't have to deal with any of the drama following the fight, but unfortunately, he also wasn't able to say goodbye to his friends before summer vacation. Poor Isaac didn't ask to be a part of something so ridiculous and aggressive. But even though it truly sounded like he needed the following day to recuperate emotionally, he still missed out. But what happened after that was honestly unbelievable. Kail revealed that Isaac was pretty happy when a couple of his friends' parents texted her to ask him about him. She claimed that she could tell it brought Isaac to a lot of comfort to know that he had at least two close friends who cared about how he was feeling. It's awesome that Isaac has a couple of really good friends in his corner, but it sounds like even before he was recently attacked, his middle school experience has been absolutely unreal. Isaac just wrapped up 7th grade, which is hard to believe, but what he went through at the end of 6th grade was remarkably unsettling. Sadly, this wasn't the first time Isaac was physically hurt by other kids at his school. In May 2022, he went to a school dance, which should have been a fun, safe time, but what actually happened was downright tragic. Kail explained on her Coffee Convos podcast that at the time, Isaac had been attacked. She was away in Los Angeles for business on the night of the school dance, so Joe broke the news when she returned home. Needless to say, Kail was extremely upset. During the podcast episode, Kail revealed that the boy who fought Isaac at the dance was suspended from their school. But when she talked to Isaac later about the incident, what he told her was seriously awful. Isaac claimed that he was so afraid when he was attacked, he couldn't have fought back even if he wanted to. Apparently, the incident didn't just involve the boy who had already been suspended. What Kail discovered next was insane. Isaac had actually been attacked by a group of 5 boys. It's no wonder Isaac was terrified. If he had tried to defend himself, he would have been fighting multiple kids at once. Understandably, Kail called the school after learning what had truly happened to her son, but allegedly the response she got was incredibly disappointing. Kail said that the school told her there was nothing they could do, even though she told them the names of all 5 boys involved. She decided to send the school an email next, and she requested to have a meeting with all of the boys' parents. Unfortunately, the school refused to schedule the meeting. They claimed that their protocol for handling bullying didn't involve getting parents together. Unsurprisingly, Kail was totally devastated. Kail was in total disbelief that the school had pretty much dismissed what had happened to Isaac at the dance. She claimed that the attack was way beyond typical bullying because it was a complete physical altercation. After the incident last year, Kail told Isaac that if there was ever a next time, he needed to defend himself. He had supposedly been thinking about getting back into martial arts, but still, how exactly would he be able to defend himself against a group of 5 other kids? It's absolutely devastating that Isaac has experienced 2 separate attacks at school and in only about a year's time. That would make anyone feel like they were in an unsafe learning environment. But the fact that this all happened to Isaac of all people is incredibly heartbreaking. Isaac is the only one of his brothers who doesn't care that much for contact sports. Instead, he has been really interested in writing his own books and playing the piano. He also loves art and even draws little surprises for his family members. Isaac has such a big heart and he's always seemed super respectful of other people too. He's so helpful with his little brothers and even tries to help his mom create the family's enormous grocery list. Nobody should have to deal with feeling in danger at school, but it's just so appalling that someone so sweet as Isaac has been attacked twice. There's no doubt that Isaac has always been very sensitive. Unfortunately, sometimes bullies target kids who have deeper emotions because they seem different from other children. Hopefully, Isaac doesn't feel forced to change his gentle, peaceful attitude because of the attacks at school. It would be amazing if Isaac's school manages to find a better way to handle bullying. None of the students should be worried about fights breaking out for no reason, but there's another concern that Kail's followers have been bringing up, and it's seriously astonishing. Some people think that by broadcasting embarrassing details about Isaac's personal life, Kail isn't doing him any favors. There's never a good reason for bullies to pick fights, but Kail's comments might not be helping. She's included some pretty unbelievable stories about him on her podcast. Just recently, Kail talked about Isaac finding a box of her adult products during her podcast episode. Obviously, those are streamed to the public and could easily be heard by Isaac's classmates and their parents. Kail is clearly upset about what happened to Isaac at school, like most parents would be, but not everyone is convinced that talking about the attacks on her podcast is a good idea. Either way, hopefully Isaac doesn't have to deal with another cruel incident at school again. But what do you guys think about all this? What are your thoughts on Isaac being attacked at school? Do you think Kail is revealing too much about her son's personal life on her podcast? Let me know in the comments below.